Hello, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today's video will be about how to become really chill, cool, and unbothered. People always tell me that I have a really chill persona, like, I really just calm all the time. And then, it kind of brings a calming aura to any sort of situation. And, some people get so frenetic that they can't tune into this calm frequency. So I just want to explain a little bit how I do it. And I haven't always been like this, because I've definitely struggled with anxiety at different points in my life. But I did get to a point simply by working on it, on how to just be chill all the time. As you may know, being in a state of anxiety is not good for you physically or mentally. In fact, they've done studies that show that people who have hormones in their body that are associated with anxiety, when they spike, they're more at risk of catching things like the common cold or causing long-term damage to their internal organs. So you really don't want to be in these anxious, nervous states. You do kind of want to be at a calm level baseline most of the time. So it's very advantageous for your body to be in a calm state. And then mentally, you have to ask yourself mentally, what do I get out of expressing any sort of negative emotion? Because this is sort of the antithesis to being very calm and relaxed, as someone who's constantly expressing their discomfort, negative emotions, sort of hatred, anxiety, these sort of things. Like, what do you get out of expressing these? And of course the answer is it doesn't actually benefit you at all. Like, no one will listen to you and think like, oh, this person is so obviously upset about something, this injustice is being done to them, now I'm going to help them and be nicer to them. Like, no, unfortunately the world doesn't work that way. People are far more likely to be on your side if you bring a calm, pleasant vibe to the conversation or interaction. So it's really important to unpack, though, what do you think you'll get out of expressing negative emotions? Because some people might think, once I express this negative emotion, then I won't have to hold it in anymore, and it's just out. But really what it does is it makes you more likely to have these negative emotions because you get so used to having that reaction in any situation, some sort of mild frustration, and you express your negative emotion in response to that, and then it's a slightly worse frustration, and then you have a stronger emotional reaction, and then all of a sudden you're spiraling out of control at very small, average things in your day. Like, for example, just general impatience, or perhaps some sort of stroke of bad luck, like perhaps the store didn't have a certain item that you wanted, or that sort of thing. If you get used to having a strong negative emotional reaction to these minor inconveniences, then certainly when you experience a real conflict in your life, which you certainly will, your emotional response will be of a much higher magnitude. People often go back to their childhood when they're thinking about what will I get out of expressing a negative emotion. Like, for example, the person who refuses to communicate how they're feeling and instead is, slamming cabinets and just huffing and puffing, that sort of thing. Like, what that response is that they were told as a child that their feelings didn't matter and no one wanted to hear it. So they have to externalize to show that they're feeling so bad, but they can't actually say what they're feeling or what is wrong in the situation because they're so used to just expressing their emotions in this way. And of course, this is not beneficial to dwell in your childhood in these sort of responses, because obviously this is not the way to go about life as an adult, expecting the people in your environment to pick up on your emotional state and then mother you like you're their child and baby your emotional state. Now, as an adult, it is entirely your responsibility to manage your own emotional states, and no one should be taking that on for you and just comforting you and coming to your aid. And it's very different than, really expressing, how you feel about something and maybe being able to work through that in a productive manner versus expecting someone to really baby your emotional state and they are the one who is getting you out of that emotional state. Another very common tactic that people use is really expressing anger in a way that draws a lot of attention. When people get very expressive with their body language, or they'll make some sort of, like, very common with men is like some sort of male vocalization, like some sort of really angry grunt. And why people do this is because, again, it's like they want to be seen, they want their emotion to be recognized, right? And it's true that this will accomplish the goal of having someone see your emotional response, But what does this actually do for you? It doesn't actually solve the problem. It won't actually make you feel better. It only results in making you seem like an angry person or someone who can't control their emotional state. So really the secret to being a chill, calm, collected, cool person is really just emotional maturity and understanding that you have to manage your own emotional states and that it's not so much about the circumstances around you, because that's something you can't control whatsoever. Even if you think that you're in control, things will happen that you never could have anticipated, and no matter what you do in life, you'll never be so perfectly secure that things are going to go your way all the time. So it's very critical that you learn to manage these emotional states and not constantly be expressing negative emotions. Some people think that in order to take on this chill, cool affect, you need to do a lot of drugs. And while this could be true in some cases, you will find that generally the most calm, collected, cool people are actually completely sober, because they are in complete control of their reactions at all times. Someone who constantly has substances flowing through their system is at the mercy of one more circumstance that's beyond their control. So by cutting out things like drugs or alcohol, you'll actually be able to have a stronger control over your emotional states and be able to be more chill, cool, and collected. Another way to become more unbothered about things is to adopt a healthy air of detachment about the things that don't really matter to you. Like, if you think about what really matters to you in your life, and you just focus in on that. And I would say, for me, my personal goal would be my own personal development, psychological development, right? So if that's the only thing that matters to me, then I'm not getting so caught up in things like, oh, the weather or my sports team winning or, the interpersonal relationships. The way that those go are not so much things that I take to strike at my core, because I don't really care about these ephemeral, temporary things that are just flowing through my life that I have very little control over. But when you look at things through the lens of your own personal development, then you can adopt a healthier of attachment about the way the situation occurs, and you can extract the maximum possible value from all these interactions and experiences. So for example, things like interpersonal relationships. A sort of unhealthy attachment to a relationship, either a friendship or a romantic relationship, would be thinking that your value as a person hinges on this relationship, and it's very important that people think highly of you. It's very important that your friends like you, that you have a partner who's very attracted to you, and that sort of thing, that you're very attached in this way. And a healthy level of detachment, you still value the people who are in your life, but the way that you look at these relationships is as a place of growth, to express yourself in new and different ways and allow someone else to express themselves. And you're not too caught up in these unhealthy attachments about status or expectations, but that you're really coming to the table really humbly and using it as a learning experience for everyone involved to grow. So in this way, every interaction and circumstance in your life can be a possible way to grow. Instead of being like you're running an obstacle course and you're hitting all these obstacles that are so painful, you're walking over spikes or something like that. Life doesn't have to be that way. Life can be simply a book, and you flip the pages and you do a new lesson, like a little worksheet of, I'm just working through this and I'm learning as much as I can from this situation. And when you take that approach, you'll just suffer so much less in life. So these are just some of my thoughts on the topic, and as I've said, I've received a lot of feedback on this, that people do tell me that I'm very chill and bring a calming vibe to interactions. So I do think that if you follow this advice, you'll probably be able to attain that as well. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.